Welcome, everyone. Gonna get this going here in just a second. Very excited to get this workshop going. Let me get this centered up a little bit. Here we go. That's better. Hey, everyone. What's up? How's it going? Sonnet's going to be joining me here in just a second, I am sure. Very excited to host this workshop today. Anytime we do a workshop, it's always a fun day for us because we love to teach and we love to connect with you all. And we're here and we get to do both of those things today. So hope you're having a fantastic start to your fall. Right now, the weather in Nashville is starting to cool off a little bit. So that's pretty nice. How's everybody doing in terms of your weather? Like, where are you reporting from? Let me know where you're at in the world. Would love to know where you're at. How's it going? From outside Seattle, from Arizona. I was in Arizona for a good 8 years of my life. Very cool. Very cool. How's it going, Sonnet?
Northwoods of Wisconsin. That's cool.
Coming back to
Northwoods. What is the
Nashville soon?
Northwoods of Wisconsin?
I don't know.
My sister lives up in Door County. I'm wondering if that's anywhere near.
Georgia, just outside of Chattanooga. I was through that area not too long ago. Drove down to Orlando for a little writing trip recently. Paul's here from Miami, Malaysia. Wow. Wow.
That's
That's
awesome.
a first for us. Welcome. Welcome to the call. Falling into nicer weather in Minneapolis. Glad to hear it. Murfreesboro. Yeah, it's rainy down there. It has been raining like raining all day yesterday, pretty much. There's some kind of tropical storm that's coming into Nashville in the next couple of days.
How exciting.
Well, we'll
Keep
see.
moving. Keep
Evansville.
exciting.
We got folks from all over the country and all around the world here. Welcome to this call. We're going to give a couple more minutes just for people who want to tune into this thing live to hop on with us. And then we'll get everything properly going. Hurricane. Yeah, I'm not sure it's a hurricane, or I just saw it was like a tropical storm that was coming up through like Louisiana, and it's gonna get to Nashville, get to like the area of the country that I'm
Yeah,
in.
it's coming straight up Georgia on the
All right.
border of Alabama and Georgia where I live.
All right. Well, hope you stay safe. Stay
Yeah,
safe.
we're not. I lived through four hurricanes down in Florida when I lived down there. It's not that big a deal up here.
All
It
right.
fitters away, but we do get some power outages, and that's the thing. I like to keep working. I don't like to stop.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like me. You're like me, my friend. Nobody likes a power outage at all. Nobody likes that. So hopefully everybody's weather cooperates the
Forced
rest of the
break.
week.
Slowing down. The universe is like, no more working. You gotta chill. That's what it is.
Where we got people from Boston, we got folks from Colorado. I lived in Colorado for 2 years earlier in my life as well. It's fun to always see some states and some names of places that I used to be in. Wisconsin. My family used to travel up to the lakes of Minnesota towards the Canadian border every summer, and we would be up there fishing and hanging out in a cabin in a off of a lake called Farm Lake. I guess there's like a million lakes up there, but there was a very specific lake we would go to every single summer, and we'd have a family chart that had like a fishing contest where we'd keep track of all the fish that
Oh
we
my gosh,
caught.
that's so fun.
Yeah, and my sister and I always cleaned house because we would just be by the dock, like catching sunfish and like tiny little ones, and we'd have like a
Oh
million
yeah, those
fish.
count.
Yeah, and they counted. My sister and I made sure that they counted just as equally as the big walleye and the largemouth bass and the northern pike that my parents would be out in the boats trying to. I don't know what it's called, where you have like the lure that's kind of riding along with you in the boat. Um,
I don't know. I'm
I
not
don't
the
know. I
answer.
can't remember the term for that, but yeah, they would be out there like getting real fish, and we would be winning, cleaning up all the awards for the summer trip. So it's always so cool to see people coming from all over the world here in the music industry. The music industry is obviously a global community. Like trolling. That's so funny. It has such a different context nowadays, but it is called trolling. Oh, that's funny. That made me laugh. Thanks for that. Appreciate that. Good stuff. All right. I think everybody who wanted to attend this live is here, and we're very excited about this. This is kind of a new thing for us. Like I said, we love teaching workshops and we love connecting with you. And we've just thought that there are a lot of things that Sonnet and I have done in the music industry, including starting this business 2Indie that we run, that really speaks to the things that we're talking about today in terms of taking your music and the skills you have in the music industry and actually starting to make money with them. So without further ado, just going to go into some introductions here. For anybody who doesn't know who Sonnet and I are, we are 2Indie. We founded this company in 2021 to serve artists, songwriters, and producers. It's our mission to create a friendlier music industry for indie music makers and get them real results in their careers. We offer premium conferences, courses, and coaching, as well as a private sync club called the Sync Society. We'll be talking about that just briefly here. On that note, the Sync Society sampler that we send out consistently lands between 60 to 100% of its songs to sync rep deals, a testament to the caliber of indie creators who are members of this exclusive club. As well, in 2024, earlier this year, we released our first Amazon charting book, Get Signed in Sync, which is the ultimate handbook for working with music licensing agencies. Now for a quick little message from our sponsor of this workshop, the Sync Society. Well, on the subject of how to make money in the music industry, of all the ways that you can do this, sync is still one of the best ways to have a breakthrough. 2Indie's private sync club, the Sync Society, offers members one place that they can meet industry, collaborate, write to briefs, submit to samplers, and access a library of hundreds of hours of video coaching, song feedback, conferences, and more. It's where sync is friendly and deals are made. For more information, join the club and get signed in sync. I'm going to drop it into the chat here for everybody. And we're going to get this show rolling. Thank you for those intros. Hopefully you all know my name's John Kleinbell. This is Sonnet Simmons. We're happy here to talk to you today about making money with your music and skills. And we're going to start here by addressing the big elephant that might be in the room with you right now, which is your mindset around all of this, because we can't talk about, we could just dive into the list. We're going to give you tons of practical ways that you can earn with your music and with your skills in the music industry. But before we do that, we really have to talk about mindset, because you can give somebody, the lures and going back to the fishing analogy, give them the pole, give them the lures, give them the place to fish. But if you don't have the right mentality about it, what are you going to do with it? You're not going to have the right strategy. You're not going to have the right technique. You're going to get impatient or whatever it is. But we're going to talk to you about the important things about starting to make this transition. If you're making money, if you're not making money, like we're going to start to dive into this. So first off, the first thing I want to talk about with making money with your music and skills, the mindset of it is treating music actually like a business. So here's the thing with treating music like a business. There's like a big difference, sometimes a huge difference between making music as a hobby and making it as part of a business. When you're making music as a hobby, it's like you're doing it for fun. You do it because you enjoy it, right? We all make music here. We all love making music. You don't worry too much about who will listen or what they'll think, unless you want to impress somebody. It's more personal. Like you're not really taking it as seriously. You play what you feel like playing whenever you want without any pressure. You're the boss and there's no rules or deadlines. And ultimately it's just about having fun and feeling good about what you create, which is, that's what a hobby should be, right? That's the rewards of doing something for the sake of it, for the fun of it. Now I want to talk about versus making music as a business. If you decide to get serious and make music your business, things do change. You're making music now to reach an audience and possibly make some money. You might work with others who help you decide what the music should sound like in order to succeed. There are deadlines to meet and standards to keep up with, because ultimately people will judge your work. And you're no longer just making music for fun. You're aiming to, with your art, to also please fans and the market. So what does that mean in terms of what needs to happen to go from treating it as a hobby to treating it like a business? The big shift comes when you start thinking of your music as a business and you start seeing music as not just something you love doing, but as this incredible tool to help you achieve the goals that you have, like whether it's popularity or financial success. And then you realize you have a lot of marketable skills that you can use in the music industry already that you can choose to apply in starting a music industry business. So there's all of these things that all these goals you may have with your actual music and where you want it to go. But then there's also, in parallel with that, the skills that you've acquired over the years that have real tangible value. And that's one of the most exciting things about this talk that we have today, is exploring some of that. So let's move on to the next thing. We got a few more things to cover when it comes to the mindset side of this thing. The next thing I want to talk about is, just because there's so much noise out there, and honestly BS, about, you're sitting on a gold mine on your hard drives. You're, just one click away from buying all the stuff you want with your music. There's a lot of get rich quick vibes. So Sonnet and I really want you to know you need to get the F out of here with that attitude, because when you have an idea for music or for a project, turning it into something that you can sell or make money from, a lot of times it's not quick. It's totally different in a way than learning a job like being an electrician, where you start working right away, you get the training, and then as soon as you get your toolbox together, there's companies and there's clients ready to hire you. Making money in music can be slow. So people who do well in the music business often try different things many times before they find something that works and really starts to earn them money. It can be a journey with a lot of steps along the way. So no get rich quick vibes here. Let's all make that commitment, because I'll tell you one thing that get rich quick is going to do. It's really going to burn you out fast. It's going to give you a very bitter taste in your mouth if you happen to, like so many of us, fail to succeed at the first thing you try. So don't shoot yourself in the foot before you ever get started with it by having the right attitude around that. Next thing I want to talk about is that the music industry is an ecosystem. So, and I think of the music industry, somebody told me this a while back, and I thought it was a really cool analogy, is that the music industry is kind of like a conference, like a big music industry conference like NAMM, where you walk in and there's 3 football fields worth of different tables and professionals and instruments, and you have all these different cool things that you can do once you just get inside the door. And if you think of it that way, all you got to do to level up at the conference is take what you're good at, whether it's playing an instrument, singing, songwriting, even stuff like social media, photography, or something else, and you find where it fits in the conference. You find where it fits in the music industry. You look for what fans and clients or companies in the music world need, and then offer your talents to fill those needs. That's how you become a part of the music business. And honestly, it can be really fun to explore the conference floor, as it were, once you're inside. That's one thing I will say as an entrepreneur as well as a music maker, is that it can be really fun to explore the different spaces in which you can thrive once you just get inside. So just think about that. The music industry is an ecosystem. The next thing I want to talk about, which is, I think it's a really tough one for a lot of indie artists and songwriters and producers to think, and maybe even to stomach, is that it's okay to experiment and pivot, especially when it comes to business. It's okay to try different things with your music, just as it's okay to do that, to try new sounds, to try new genres. If you look at where you currently stand in the music world and think, well, maybe I should do something new to start earning money, that is not you failing. It doesn't mean you're quitting your big dreams. And I would suggest actually trying new ways to earn can actually be a smart move to help you get closer to what you really want to do in your music career. It's certainly one of those things that helped drive me closer to what it is. I'm actually on the precipice right now of the most exciting artist project that I've ever been involved in. And I can feel the momentum building with that. And I think a huge part of what's happened has been the work that I've done in the sync industry, as well as the business that Sonnet and I have started and is thriving and is doing cool stuff. So it's just, it all can get you closer to those big dreams that you have. It's just sometimes it's hard to stomach the idea of just experimenting and pivoting, because you're like, well, it doesn't look exactly the way I thought it was going to look. And that can be frustrating, right? I've got three other things I want to talk about, and then we're going to dive directly into the specifics of what you can actually start to do in order to make money in the music industry with your music as well as with your skills. So the next thing I want to talk about is dreaming big. Like, it's okay to have big dreams, and I don't want you to be scared to think about how your music and skills can be really important in the music world. You got to really start to see we all bring unique things to the table. There was a time where I didn't really understand all of the different things that I can do. Like, I never saw myself as a coach or teacher until like 2018. I did some yoga teacher training, did pretty well with that, but I never really fully embraced that. But it wasn't until I started teaching about licensing with Catch the Moon and Kathy Heller alongside Sonnet that I really started to embrace that part of myself. And it became part of my big dream, in terms of the skills that I naturally possess that can contribute in a positive way to the music industry. So it's cool to think about how you can help the music industry, because if for nothing else, in big ways, because that's where people need what you offer. And that's honestly, at the end of the day, demand is how you start making money. Providing value, and especially if that value is in a place of demand, that's how you can start to really earn. Whether it be your music through sync, your music through building a side hustle, your music through, or something that's just a music business related to what you're doing on the music side of things. There's, as we'll be talking about, there's a lot of these quote unquote side hustles that can actually help you get better gigs for yourself, get better recordings for yourself, all of these things. All right. The final things I want to talk about, and this one, I'm sure Sonnet, if she's not laughing right now, she'll be laughing here in a second when I say it, is to focus on one business idea at a time. It's something that's so hard for me
Yeah,
to
I'm
do
laughing.
because I'm super. Who in here is an ideas person? I want to see some hands. I want to see some, light it up in the chat if you're an ideas person. If your mind just explodes with cool ideas, whether it's writing, whether it's business related stuff, whether it's just whatever it is, you're always coming up with ideas of how to optimize your laundry, your weekly laundry load or something like that. You know, totally, totally. Many ideas. I'm seeing some stuff in here. Got nothing but ideas. What's this? I read this and I laughed. Many ideas and only a handful executed. I see. I'm happy to see that there's a lot of people like me, because first off, it makes me feel like not quite so alone. I know I'm not the only person who has this affliction. It's actually a really great gift to have, to be a fire starter, like Shannon's saying in here. To be a fire starter is a very powerful thing. But if there's no follow up on it, then, there's really nothing that will happen. There's literally nothing's going to happen if all you do is come up with ideas. So regardless of the ideas you have about how you currently are or could in the future contribute to the music industry with your talents and your music, if you don't have a way to choose which of these ideas to work on first, you might not ever get around to doing any of it. So brainstorm all you want, but then I really recommend, and I'm try as hard as I can to practice this. And, Sonnet and I have a process for all the cool shit that we're doing with 2Indie to see that we're not like overwhelming ourselves, because Sonnet comes up with tons of great ideas too. So we're both fire starters in that way, but picking one idea to really focus on at first, that way you can actually make it happen and see if it works, give it a shot, So that's a muscle that anybody's a budding music entrepreneur, like a music business entrepreneur, if you're think you might have that bug, you think you might have that bug in terms of like also just seeing ways in which your music can work in different capacities. If you have either of those bugs, then I highly recommend doing this, just getting really focused about it. You can always make a long list and then just pick the first thing that you're going to do off that list. It doesn't have to be the only thing that you try. And then finally, I just want to say, this is a big mindset thing. It was a huge one for me, because there was a point in my life where I really lacked self-confidence, especially when it came to believing in what I was capable of achieving. what I was capable of building, how I was able to make that case to the larger music industry. You got to really feel it too. We can talk about all this stuff that, figuring out a way to make money with your music can be very difficult. It can be challenging. It can also be really exciting and fun too. But regardless of what it is, you really got to feel it. You got to feel ready and you got to believe that you can do it. You need to think that it's the right path for you as a musician. It's not in conflict. Making money is not in conflict with your art. And you got to believe you can do it, and I'm here and Sonnet's here to say it's totally okay to make money so that you can have a great life and a long career in music. We give you full permission to go for it, full send, and no excuses, no reservations. It's okay. It's not selling out. Being able to support yourself is important. And also, it's going to lead you to longevity in the music industry. A lot of times people will burn out because they simply can't find a way to make any money doing it. And then they're just like, I lived in LA for 15 years. And when I first moved out to LA, there was a group. Now they weren't all in the music industry, but I was in the media arts department in my undergrad. And me and a bunch of people that were excited about moving to the entertainment capital of the world, we all moved to LA at the same time. And we would go and meet at happy hours. I was living in like West Hollywood at the time. We would go meet at happy hours and kind of talk about how things were going. And it's just LA is just such a culture shock. But I remember it was like we were all excited. We were talking, oh, I'm interviewing for this. Oh, I'm going to this audition. I'm doing this. And things were happening. And then it just felt like one by one, all of my friends like started dropping off like flies. They're like, I think I'm going to move back home to Tucson and live with my parents for a little bit and maybe build up my resume a little bit and all that stuff. And I think it just goes back to, you got to find a way to have longevity in what you're doing, whether that's, a lot of folks just take a full-time job and that's actually what I did when I was first starting out. Was I took a full-time job and was chipping away at it on the side. But it's like, if there's no money, ultimately you're not going to want to do it. You'll probably just want to switch to having music be your hobby, and that's okay too. But I think the people on this call, we're wired differently. Like, all of us here are wired differently. We have aspirations. It's okay to have those aspirations, and I want you to go for it. That's all I got to say about the mindset of things. Is everybody feeling like sufficiently pumped up about, getting yourself to a place where you're earning more money in the music industry? Is everybody like feeling pumped about this? Sonnet, you got anything you want to add to what I said about mindset?
No, I think you covered it. I mean, I think it's really important. The biggest piece is that as music creators for a long time, it's been the mindset of the struggling, starving artist. And so then when you take the ownership of your career and you take the seat at the table and you don't feel like everybody else has a seat but me, and you really are like, oh, I can create my own seat at this table and own that seat, and also own that you can be a abundant artist and music creator, and the starving artist is really this old model that doesn't have to be your reality, and that you can make money from your music in lots of different creative ways. So I think it's really important to kind of explore that, if that's a limiting belief in there sometimes that keeps us from really showing up for our showing up and like following through. It's like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, and then you never do. And so what are the things what's the resistance there? So I think that's an important piece to look at, because if you make all these plans but you actually never do them, you've got some resistance to look at. But today, I think it's important that we dive into some practical applications that you can actually look at and see like which things are gonna work for you. What is something that might spark interest and be like, oh, I'm kind of already doing that, or maybe I did that 5 years ago and I never really gave it my all. I never really, committed. And you can pick one of these things and really commit and explore it, and then see what works, what sticks, what feels good. Maybe start bringing in a couple other pieces. But the conversation today is to help you really understand that you have the power to make money in the music industry. There are so many ways, creative ways, and people are doing it. And a lot of you on this call are doing it. So it's just here to to help jog your imagination and understanding of different ideas. So let's dive in.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go. So we told you when you signed up for this, when you RSVP'd, we were going to give you 10 ways to earn money in the music industry with your songs and talents. And I have to admit that we lied. You're going to get 50. You're going to get 50 ideas. And this is not meant to be like the definitive list of the only ways in which independent songwriters and artists and producers can earn money with their music and with their music industry skills. But it's meant, like Sonnet was saying, we want to be your fire starters. We want to help you incubate the ideas for how you can monetize. And these are, some of them are very straightforward, practical ways in which you can start to do like a, minimum viable product. Just get going with it. Like start your side hustle, get a little website up. That's a whole other call, is like how you start to talk about like what it is that you're going to try to do and how you put that little mini business plan together. But we wanted to give you a lot of ideas. And so we're going to just start jumping in. We're probably going to go through 10 of them, maybe. Let's just go ahead. I'm going to, first off, I'm going to share the screen, and then I'm also going to share the link to the information so that everybody has it. And you can kind of follow along if you like. And you can keep this for your later reference. Let me just get this into get this sharing going. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Awesome. Let me see if I can find the share screen video button. It's kind of different when the windows are smaller. It's kind of funny. Oh, maybe. Why am I not seeing it? Oh, there it is. The big thing that says share, of course. That's the one. All right, so let's share this. Take a look at this. So we just published this today on our indie music blog. How I can make more money with my music and skills, 50 ways. So let's talk first off, like what Sonnet and I coach about, like week in, week out, month in, month out. And we love it. It's given so much reward, and not only to our own artistic journeys, but also it's been financially rewarding to us. And helped us to gain larger following, which is music licensing. It's to get your songs on a TV shows, movies, ads. It's called music licensing. It's called licensing your music, for anybody who's unfamiliar. It's like renting out your song for somebody else to use in their project. And we've actually, 2Indie has created a quick start guide called The Basics of Sync. If anybody is unfamiliar with what sync is, needs more information about that, we provided that. There's a link right in there. This article, by the way, we're going to be building this out with a bunch of helpful links. This is the first version of this article that we've written, but this resource is going to teach you what sync is and how it can benefit you. It's just a super great way, arguably the best way still, for independent artists and songwriters and producers to start to monetize their stuff. So we'll start there. There's one idea. Sonnet, what, you want to take a turn here? Go down the list, find something that you want to talk about?
Well, I actually think that there's, as musicians, as music creators, we are also entrepreneurs. So as we as we put on our business hat and we think about, okay, what are some of the pieces that a digital creator or somebody who owns their own business is doing in order to create revenue in their business? They are creating funnels. So what is a funnel that you can create as a music maker that is going to bring in revenue? One of those is merchandise, and building your email list. So the idea of what can you give away for free in your Instagram, in your Twitter, in wherever you are sharing your music, wherever you're talking about your music. You may not be the forward-facing artist. Even if you're not the forward-facing artist and you're the producer or the lyricist, you can still share your music that you're creating with these other artists. You can find a way to give something away for free in exchange for their email address. And so as you're building your email list, you're thinking, okay, so if you want this song for free, opt in here. You're starting to build your email list. These are people interested in your music, and you're giving them something for free in exchange for that email address. You'll see that all the time on Instagram. How many times do you guys give your email address for something? So as you're giving your email address, now you can start giving them, oh, you loved that song for free. Here's the sweatshirt. Here's the t-shirt. Here's the mug that goes with that. If you're selling a $25 cool t-shirt, or sweatshirt, you're making $25 a piece, maybe, maybe 20, depending on what the cut is, or 17. Um, and you can do that through Printify, you can do that through Shopify, connecting those together. And so your funnel goes from giving somebody something for free, they give you your email address, then you are having them in your email address and you're giving them something that you're upselling them to. So maybe that's the merchandise, maybe it's the tank top, maybe it's a t-shirt. People love merchandise. So I think that's a really overlooked, underutilized experience for people, is how much they love merchandise. They want to support the independent artist. They can't always buy your record. Sometimes they can, if you push that, or if you are giving them that option, but give them something to support you with. And having merchandise is something that some people really crush it in merchandise, because they go all in, they focus their efforts on that, they create some really fun t-shirts and things. So if you are thinking about that, you could really create a little storefront, you can create a little funnel, and you can start making $25, $20 a pop. And that starts covering this. And then you start building that out. And maybe you start doing this for other artists. There's so many ideas, but it's a very underutilized experience that people really want to take advantage of. And something that I've talked to a few different managers about, that always like to have that for their artists, because they feel like people really love to buy merchandise. So something not to forget about.
Great stuff. Yeah, yeah. So, in your email list, it's important to note that your email list is basically like the first form of like a fan club. It's You can create a formal fan club, but just making sure you have the direct line of the people who are on your list. A lot of times with social media, you might have a lot of followers, but only a certain number of people that are following you actually see the stuff that you post in your feed. So the nice thing about an email list is that when you send out an email, the deliverability is a lot higher. Like, yes, some stuff's going to get filtered out. Yes, some stuff's not going to get seen. But for the most part, unless you're doing stuff that's like preventing your email from getting through in the first place, which that's a whole other conversation, you're going to get a lot better direct connection with your fans. So, and it's something like Sonnet was suggesting, that you can easily monetize in a lot of different ways once you start to build up your email list. You can offer merchandise, you can offer tickets to your shows, you can offer meet and greets, all sorts of kinds of things, digital downloads, what have you, all that stuff. Let's talk about producing, because producing is one people often get into producing because they struggle. A lot of songwriters will get into production because they are struggling to afford to hire a producer. But the thing that they don't realize a lot of the times is that as they get better and better at producing, their skills are actually, they can charge for them, and you got to remember, producers are out of like the whole equation in terms of like creating a song. Producers are probably the most in demand. Songwriters, dime a dozen. Singers, dime a dozen. Although there are like exceptions to both of those. If you're an exceptional writer, you're an exceptional singer, there's certainly value in those as well. And those are on this list as well, you'll find. But producers, I think, it can be quicker to get yourself to a place where you can monetize as a producer. Um, if you enjoy the process of recording, you can do it with other people. There's like you can start with like some free and low budget projects to kind of build up your reel. Or if you're producing for yourself, you can just literally start with the songs that you've produced of yourself as your reel. And it could also probably be a reel for your songwriting as well. And if you're a singer as well, it could be a demo reel for your vocal production work, as well as your work that you could potentially do as a session vocalist. So a lot of this stuff, it can be like the stuff that you're already doing as a writer, as an artist, as a performer and producer. Those skills can be easily, translated. Yeah, we're seeing in here, it's an uphill battle. Producing has its own set of 10,000 hours that you need to do, I've found, in order to get to that place where it's at the professional level that it needs to be. But the thing you got to remember too, and this is one thing, I mean, this is also kind of a mindset thing, but I want to say, you'll maybe looking at this list and you're like, oh, okay, session work, producing, songwriting, I'm not at the level where I can charge for any of it. Like I don't have any big cuts. I don't have any big sinks. I don't have any huge hits or any of that stuff. But you got to remember there's so many people out there, no matter where you're at. Once you start to take even a couple of steps up the ladder, it's not about being the best at any of this stuff. It's about being at a place that's higher up than the people that are hiring you to do the work. There's value there. Like if you're not the most accomplished producer on the planet, but you know how to set a vocal chain up. You know how to route things. You know how to like keep a session going once you get it started because you've done it enough that you don't have like a big studio and you don't have people doing the engineering for you, but you can make a session work and you're further ahead than other people who maybe they can't afford the real good producers or the really amazing songwriters, the top notch. I happen to know like the number one session vocalist on Sound Better, and she doesn't charge. She's not cheap. She's built up a huge reputation now, and working with her is not super affordable. Let's just put it that way. But she's exceptional in what she does. But there's so many other people that you could hire, whether it's on Fiverr, on Sound Better, whatever it is. So many of those gig economy sites where you can hire people. But it's just you don't have to be the best at something in order to make money doing it. That's the other thing about mindset that I think is really key here. And it's one of those roadblocks that I think it was for me for a while. Like I need to be really, really good or else I'm not worth anything. Like there's somehow I got that programming like growing up. I don't know how that happened, but it's like it was one of those things in the music industry that I really had to overcome. And I'm glad I have because it's something that I hope that you all can overcome as well and not need yourself to be perfect, not be don't need to be the best at it in order to start earning. But production's another great one. Production's great.
Very good. And so many people in here are relating to this. I want to hear from you guys. What are some of the things that, we're three in, four maybe. What are some of the things that you guys have been doing or have done to make money or have kind of started but never went all the way in? Because I think it's worth like being the number one vocalist on Sound Better. You show up 100%. You might not be the very best singer in the world, but you're showing up 100%. You are creating an incredible product every single time. You're putting your energy and effort into showing up and marketing yourself in this one space. And that is not, she actually is an amazing singer, but I'm just saying like it's not about being the best. It's about going all in. Like John was saying earlier, we talk about picking one thing. And so, oh, well, I might try this, I might try that, I might try a little bit. Throw my vocals on Sound Better and maybe I'll get some hits. Or you're like, I am going to be freaking phenomenal on Sound Better. I'm going to show up. I'm going to market what I have up there. I'm going to get people to notice me. I'm going to respond responsibly, and professionally, and I'm going to have a really high quality product that I'm turning around so more people want to work with me. That takes, a vision and it takes laser focus. And so when you guys are, when all of us are, we're creative people, we have lots of ideas. We're going to try a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I think what we're sharing here is what thing can you pick and then which thing can you get really focused on and make a plan for? Or are there any ideas that are percolating from the information that we're sharing? We're like, oh, well, maybe I could do that. Or maybe I could share, maybe I could start like figuring out where some clients would be for production. And I'm just learning, but I do know how to do these things. So maybe I could help offer this to people. And I think another thing that throws us off, especially as creatives, is we put it out one time, we don't get a big bite, there's not a huge landslide of success. And then we're like, I guess it's not for me. And so by showing up, you're like, I'm going to just keep showing up until I start seeing success. It's the same in sync. So we talk about this in Sync Society all the time. How can you keep showing up until you start landing those syncs, until you start licensing, getting your song signed? And so putting it out there one time isn't enough. It's like really showing up on Sound Better, really showing up as a producer who's offering demos and offering it again and again and talking about it in your Instagram and really starting to build some momentum. And that is what it takes, really showing up to be seen for what you're offering. So I know a bunch of you guys, yes, consistency. I have peer songwriting group. That's amazing. Took a lot of money to get educated. Thinking about fully committing is really transformative thought. Yeah, pick. So I want to hear what are some of the things that are kind of like percolating for you guys. Like, oh, maybe I could do that. Maybe I could commit to doing that. Maybe I could do a little bit of this and put it together and create this. Are there any little ideas that are starting to percolate on how you can create more money with your music in your career based on just a few of the things that we've shared so far? Kajabi course, building a fan club. Yep. Merch for song lyrics. Greeting cards. That's so cool. I love that idea. It's like just getting creative. And
Well,
that's how entrepreneurs, music is a healing, is health healing. Yes. And that's it. Like we start having this conversation and you start thinking, well, how does this apply to me? And all the different ways that you can really bring what it is, do you make music that heals people? Are you of the conscious community and yoga? Do you want to make music that, you're going to put out a record that does that? Greeting cards idea is amazing. Um,
yeah, I think there's a lot of great stuff here in terms of what people are dropping in, and I think it like the whole idea of greeting cards. Like for example, we came up with a list after doing a lot of research of 50 ideas for you, and look at how many things there's already being dropped into the chat of like things that are not on that list. It's like literally endless. The possibilities have to, I'll tell you where they intersect, at least in my own experience with this as an entrepreneur, is your life experiences, the things you enjoy doing outside of music, the things that you connect with outside of music. You can find interesting ways to connect them to music and then connect them either to your own music brand, or you create a separate thing that in a way is serving the music industry. So, whether it's greeting cards, is it greeting cards that have lyrics to your own music, or is it greeting cards that are just generally humorous to musicians? Could be a funny thing. There could be a whole market. You could make a whole line of greeting cards that all the musicians out there would think are funny or inspirational. So it's just ideas that you take up like a small idea like that and you can go so many ways with it. And then it's like, well, what's your putting together your quick business plan? We should put together a little workshop, follow-up workshop to this of how to actually start your business, how to actually start to realize, take that idea, whittle it down, and then actually put your first offering out there. That could be a fun thing for us to
drop
follow
a
up
one in
with.
the chat if that would be helpful.
Would that be helpful to everybody for us to
How to
talk
create
about
an
that?
offer.
Sweet. Sweet. I think we know what we're doing next. Great. Oh, that's great. We're getting a lot of responses here, a lot of ones. That's a lot of ones. Awesome. Well, so here's the thing, like we're all like geeking out here about entrepreneurship. Did you ever think when you were listening to records or listening on your iTunes playlist or listening to Spotify when you were young that you would ever be at this kind of an interesting, not even necessarily a crossroads, but it's like a whole array of possibilities that maybe you didn't really conceive of before when you were listening to music, geeking out on it. I remember when I was a little kid, this is going to age me, but I remember like when I was small, listening on headphones to Paul Simon's Graceland, wondering where Tucson, Arizona was. And, thinking about imagining myself up on stage with all those world musicians. And, my life's journey has been so different than what I initially thought it could be. But it's like, it's amazing all the ways in which when you take your passions, some of them have to do with making music. Hell, you could make your whole living with music. It's still totally possible. But then there's also all these other ways in which you can, be inspired and find ways to that honestly like light you up. In cases for me, like I've discovered that I enjoy coaching just as much as I enjoy making music. And believe me, I love writing. Writing is like one of my favorite things in the world to do. And I love this just as much, I think, because it's just so great to see like all the lights, all those ones going in the chat, all those light bulbs going off. It just feels so good to me to know that like I'm one of the candle flames that's like and I see all the other ones that are going off at this moment. And who knows it'll be really interesting to see if there's any cool businesses that get started from this call. Is anybody willing to say, like, I'm going to start a business this year or in 2025, and I'm going to do something that is related to music, or maybe try something new that I haven't tried before? Is there anybody who's willing to like say, I'm going to do this? I'm going to go for it.
Brittany's starting a greeting card company. We're holding her to it.
I'm thinking about it because, like, I was sorry to just interject quickly, but like, I've thought about merch before. I'm like, I don't know if people would wear a shirt with my lyrics on it, but I think they'd probably buy a greeting card with like my lyrics in it.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Depends on the lyric. I mean, depending on which lyric it is, but as it applies to different things and how cool and unique, and sending that to somebody, giving it to somebody, it has a whole story. It's something personal and they're supporting an independent artist. Like, it's such a great idea. And it could be not only your music, but then maybe you start doing this for other people and charging them and other artists as you build your company, and you become like the card where you can get lyrics from indie artists and support artists, like
Well,
there's so
yeah,
many
and
ways to
like
do that.
anyone can steal this if they want to do it on their own, but I probably wouldn't handwrite mine, but like to have a handwritten lyric on a greeting card is also pretty special. So that could
Hmm.
be a cool thing too.
With the website on the back to listen, download, and buy
Yes.
more.
Yep.
Love it. Love it. That's great. Do you see like kind of what the cards look like? Or is it just one of those like kind of, it's a plain thing with like writing on the front of it?
I think if it was a handwritten lyric, it might just be kind of plain with writing, but I mean, depending on the song and there could be like a set. You know how they make, buy 20 and there's like four versions of five cards or something. If it was like if it an EP, you could have an EP mirror like the greeting cards kind of like from
Hey, that's
each. Yeah.
cool. That's cool. Yeah, you've got a theme for the EP, and then the EP is like a greeting. Like the lyrics in the EP seem to be good for greeting cards. You pick some quotes that feel like they would be good for like expressing loss or expressing
Yeah, exactly.
happiness or love or whatever it is. That's
Yeah.
a that is a it's a good concept. And like Sonnet was saying, if you did it well for yourself and your own lyrics, you could easily create a whole line where you're offering this even with like drop shipping
Yeah.
for other artists. You could create a whole brand around it. Could be very cool in the way
Yeah.
you
Well,
package it and all that stuff.
and also like there's so many tools right now, like, that would be pretty simple to do in Canva.
Mhm.
Just like make it then like you said with the drop shipping. So yeah, I guess it's happening 2025. Look for you
Get
to
it going. We want
hit
to
me
see
up if
what.
you need greeting cards.
2024, we still have some months left,
2024.
my friends. You just start with one. Listen. So I used to teach, and Kathy Heller's made to do this. It just starts with one offer. And that's like her big thing that she would push. It's like, you don't have to have the whole company put together. You have to have one offer. You can put it out for free just to start to see what happens. And that is the most amazing. You don't have to set up a whole story. You don't have to have 10 cards. You can have one card. You can make it today. And what I love is that Julianne is like, oh wait, who would no, Janice, I think. Sorry, it was going by so fast. Janet was like, I do calligraphy. So you've got people who are like, oh, you want me to help you with this? You want, like, the teamwork in here is here for you guys to just get messy, put it out there, start building it. And I love the idea of creating another workshop here where we can really help you guys put some boots on the floor on how to actually create your first offer. Because I also see like building out your business in mixing and mastering, huge, especially in our sync community where we have, if you guys are in our free sync community, Facebook group called Friends in Sync, that has like 4,500 people in it. Like, find clients in there. People need, like, find people to work with, collaborate with. If you're in Sync Society, you're creating a song every month in collaboration. People need those songs mixed and mastered. And you're going to, word of mouth spreads the more that you get to know the people. And those songs are getting signed every single month for In Sync Society to licensing agencies. So your reach goes far, goes quickly. So yes, I love all of these different ideas that you guys are throwing out here.
This is so great. Yeah, we'll definitely do a follow-up workshop on this because honestly, like we didn't know how this was going to go, but it seems like everybody's really digging it. So, and that really makes me happy because I thought that this would go really well. My instinct with this, actually, both our instinct with it was going to go well, but I was really hoping that everybody would really feel like lit up by this. And I'm sensing that with people. So thank you for tuning in. And, I think we're definitely going to
so
follow
I'm
up
going
with
to
some
take just a
resources on
second.
this.
Yeah, so I'm going to take just a second. Paul's asking for Sync Society, how that works. I'm going to take a second just to answer any questions around Sync Society. A lot of you guys are already in our private sync community, but I also saw a lot of you are going headfirst into sync as your laser focused way of making money with your music, with your back catalog, with the music that you're creating. So Sync Society is our private sync community. It is $47 a month. And in that community, you get 6 briefs to pick from, to write from every month. People are collaborating together so that you can create music that is high quality, ready to be like radio ready by the end of the month, and do it effectively and efficiently. You have a month to create one song from the briefs that are given in the beginning of the month. And at the end of the month, those songs are due. We go through them and we pick the top songs for our sampler and submit them to about 15 licensing agencies. So this last month, 92% of the sampler was signed so far, and I'm still hearing from agencies. So that is huge. We've had people that just joined and then they got on the sampler and they got 3 offers already. We've had people who work really hard every month to get that song feedback. So in addition to that, this is like the overarching plan. We meet every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And every week we bring in a different expert. So we bring in the licensing agency that we partnered with that month. We bring in a music supervisor. We bring in a producer or a songwriter. And we also do song feedback on the sampler. Those are the 4 different calls. You get song feedback every month or every week. You get to learn who are the people in the industry, what are they looking for, what are they working on, how do you connect with them, do they take songs, etc. So yes, they are real briefs. They are not active briefs, like they are briefs from the agencies of what they need more of, what they're seeing as trends, what they were wanting to see in a playlist sent to them that they want to sign. So not necessarily like, hey, this is, because most briefs, as you know, it's like, hey, we need these tomorrow. They're trying to have these songs in their catalog so that they can pitch songs like this. And yeah, so drop your questions if you guys have any questions. A lot of the people in here are in Sync Society, have had their songs signed, have had lots of placements. So Sync is what you're like, hey, I want to get laser focused on this. I am ready to go all in. This is a very friendly, a very collaborative, and very results-oriented community that we offer. And that, John and I as independent music creators created this because this is like what we want and what we need.
Yep. So join the Sync Society. It's friendly, deals are made in it, and you're all welcome to join. For those of you who aren't members yet, we'd love to see you on our next call. And also we do workshops every Thursday that I teach to help people level up in their production, their songwriting, pitching, branding. We cover all sorts of things. There's hundreds of hours worth of replays that all people in the Sync Society get access to. It's really, we try to keep the independent artist really in mind when it comes to like how much we're charging for it, but it's like we really feel it's like the best deal out there in sync education in terms of not only you get 3 industry introductions from people who make the music, the people who pitch the music, the people who place the music as well. We do our sampler, which is always a fun, a friendly challenge every month between members. A lot of members team up and create amazing stuff that ends up landing sync deals and then ended up getting placements as well. So, we can't guarantee placements. There's no place out there that can guarantee they're going to get you syncs. But what we can do is we know what the agencies are looking for, and the agencies are the people who have the best connections in the sync world. So we're very confident in what we do on that side of things. And we've seen amazing results from practically anybody who's applied themselves in the Sync Society since we've started this thing back in 2021. But that's all we got to say about the Sync Society. We will be following up this workshop with additional resources around this. It seems like you all want it. So we're happy to oblige. We're here to serve you. Always let us know what it is that you like, what you don't like. If you tuned into this and you're like, this was totally worthless, email us, let us know why, because we want to make it better. You can email us anytime at way@2indie.com. Again, that's way@2indie.com. We are your champions. We're supporting you. We want to be your fire starters. Let us help you out. And hit us up if you have any questions about anything. We're just here for you. And we're so excited. I am serious. I think that there's going to be some very cool business ideas that unexpectedly come from this workshop that we did today. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that happens.
Watch out. John's going to have a new business, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We're going to get off the call. John's going to be like, all right, but this is what we're going to do next. We're going to
Let me tell you, I go on these hikes in nature and I'll come back with like 12 new ideas. And then Sonnet's like, we're not doing that, but I'm joking. Sonnet, Sonnet and I have like
half of my job is to also make sure we don't do every idea, but to dive into some.
We've got a lot of stuff in the long term. We have a long-term planning folder. We have a very large long-term planning folder with what we're doing. And as I do with my own music too, it's not just with like on the entrepreneurial side of things. It's also in my music as well. Always has been, always will be. But you can have that in your career. You can do that. Like anybody can do that. So, yeah, no cap. Said by the one and only Cinder Shine. Cinder Shine. Thank you. I can't wait to see your business too. I'm sure you got something that you're cooking up right now, Cinder. The GOAT.
Playlist for motorcycles.
There we go. Yeah, playlist for motorcycles. You become like the #1 playlister for motorcycle riders. There we go.
All right, my friends.
All right, everybody.
We're at our 11 o'clock hour. You know how to reach us. It's been really great chatting with you. Welcome all the new people who have joined us for the first time. Please stay in touch.
Yeah.
And we'll see
love to hear from you.
Love you.
Love you, everybody. Have a good one. See you next time.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Bye.